Last time on Shadow Piece, our attention was split up between Sanji and Absalom doing the last preparations for his battle against Eric from the Red Hair Pirates, and Sigurd doing his best at mocking Magnus, the gentle foreign giant. At first he had basically all the spectators on his side, but with Absalom's wake-up call they all realized their wrongdoings. That, however, didn't stop the Mountain Slayer to continue until he finally struck a nerve. Insulting the father of Magnus was the catalyst to enrage the visiting barbarian. Now, wielding his super-weighted great axe, the Quarter Giant is ready to show his opponent that words won't make him the winner of this battle. Each of the participants have their weapons in their hands. The axe for Magnus, and Sigurd currently holds his signature sword, but he still has other weapons on his body. On his hips, 2 daggers are stored, on his back a spear can be seen, and on his chest above his armor his shield and another sword are placed. People who see him for the first time might think, why does he have all this equipment? But here in Elbaf, the citizens have understood that Sigurd is actually proficient in all of these weapons. A weapon master that makes it hard to predict what might come next in the battle against him. Odin's clap to start the round has already happened, thus the time has come for the weapons to clash. Sigurd may be much bigger than Magnus, but his fighting style seems to be much more technical than his opponent's. Steps forward, backward and to the sides, all while swinging his blade at his opponent. Slash after slash flies towards Magnus, but in his frenzy he doesn't even notice the damage on his body. Instead he closes the gap more and more. The round has just started, but he is already acting as reckless as other fighters did when they were on their last breaths. His performance alone shows Magnus's intimidating presence. He may not have Conqueror's Haki, but when it comes to threaten others, he doesn't need any fancy powers. His personality alone is enough. Stop your dances. You don't compare to the people that prepared me for the new world. The air gets pushed out of the way at an incredible speed, leaving Sigurd barely enough time to bring up his sword to block the attack. Metal falls on the ground. The result of the weapons hitting each other is clear. Not even a dent or scratch on the great axe, but the sword has crumbled into countless pieces. Oh, did I destroy your precious weapon? After getting taunted himself, Magnus is not holding back any words. Well, I guess a weakling would also have a weak blade. Unlike benevolence, this just seems like a child's toy. Sigurd jumps back after the attack, giving himself enough time to grab the spear on his back and enter a different combat stance. He is shocked by the power of his opponent. It is obvious that he was the fool in this picture. Not only is Magnus strong, he is a literal monster. Only the stories about the young Big Mom are comparable to what he is experiencing right now. Maybe it is even more frightening, but he is too young to know what Big Mom really did in the past. In one fluid moment, he throws the spear at Magnus, giving him trouble in his approach and even catching him off guard the first time. Just a second after he first dodged Sigurd's spear, another one comes flying directly at him. With maximum effort, he brings up his axe to block the incoming thrown weapon. While the damage is minimal, he gets pushed back once more, widening the distance between the two fighters. At first, it doesn't make sense. Magnus saw it with his own 2 eyes. His opponent only has 1 spear, so how does he keep on throwing more of them? But after blocking multiple of them, he sees it clearly with his own 2 eyes. The moment the spear falls onto the ground, it immediately returns back into Sigurd's hand. This has to be one of these cursed weapons the Quarter Giant has heard all about before. His first attempt at stopping Sigurd's second weapon is just destroying it. However, no matter into how many pieces the spear gets obliterated, it returns into its full form in the hands of the giant called the Mountain Slayer. It really is magical. Cursed weapons are still a mystery to many people, and while Magnus has learned a lot from his teachers, they also didn't have the answers to all of his questions. Some of their stories were so wild that he just waved them off as them trying to embellish their adventures. But hearing more about those people's journey is not part of this story. However, if you are interested, it exists somewhere out there in the wide world. For some time, Magnus doesn't make any progress, until he comes to a barbaric and yet genius solution. Each time he parried, blocked or destroyed the spear, it resulted in one thing: the weapon dropping on the ground and returning to its owner. So this time, he would just not block it. The cursed spear pierces his abdomen and blood splatters onto the arena floor. From damage alone, Sigurd is ahead by a lot, especially when you realize that Magnus has yet to hurt his opponent even once. He only destroyed one of his swords so far and now has his spear stuck in his body. But now, with the spear inside of him, that's the second weapon he took away from his opponent. And just like before, the fighter from Elbaf switches his stance. Now with a hunched over position, ready to dash forward and his two daggers in his hands. Sigurd is prepared to charge at his target and enter a close combat session. The giant knows it. He will need multiple hits to bring down the juggernaut in front of him. But if his opponent only lands one attack, it will be all over for him. Now that he uses his daggers, his speed is way higher, especially as he already lost two heavy weapons weighing him down. While Magnus is capable of wielding his great axe, his attacks are still rather slow. So with this newfound speed, Sigurd manages to evade the incoming strikes. Attack after attack, the ground shatters under every impact. The dagger slices manage to get through Magnus's armament haki. It seems he is more proficient in the offensive use of it compared to its defensive counterpart. One clash after the other, the audience is going wild with excitement. Every battle so far has been on an incredibly high level. This whole tournament was meant to be used to form a fighting squad for the prince, filled with young and promising fighters. However, now the older generation can't help themselves but get psyched up to face the people they see in this event. One thing is certain, after all the battles are over, the participants remaining in Elbaf will have their hands full with battle requests. Magnus may be raging across the battlefield, but he still is somewhat calmly thinking about the situation. These daggers are too fast and small to deal with them in the same manners as the other weapons, so I have to adapt. I have to try out something new. More and more conviction fills up the man from abroad as he changes up the grip on his axe. Right now it looks more like he is wielding a baseball bat and not a great axe. Waiting for the right moment to strike, Magnus squints his eyes and readies his weapon. And just a second later, he takes the swing. The full brunt force of the flat side of the axe smacks against Sigurd's arms. He tries his best to hold on, but Magnus is just too monstrous. Huge power, enough to break even the strongest grips. Having his third pair of weapons taken away from him, the white-haired giant only has one option left. Taking up his sword and shield and then fight. All the damage on the traveling giant has to be stacking up, so just a few more hits could be all Sigurd needs. But things won't be that easy, right? His opponent changes back to a more normal way of wielding a great axe, and after the first attack, the corner of the arena gets cleanly cut off. That is just how powerful all of the swings of Magnus are. From all the fighters we have seen so far, Magnus has shown the highest amount of strength, and everybody knows how impressive this feat is. In the first battle, both Hyrdine and Tyr have shown insane power. After that, Bronya has revealed her might to all of the audience, but now Magnus has surpassed everything they have shown so far. Let's just end this. My father would be sad to hear how long it took me to defeat somebody like you. Confident as always, the visiting giant raises his axe, and Sigurd actually breaks out in a cold sweat. The way he said it like a factual statement is what brought out these emotions on the otherwise positive thinking giant. Zigzagging around to make him more unpredictable, Sigurd closes the distance until they are in reach of each other. The Elbafian giant may be yelling out his attack name, but he gets completely drowned out by Magnus's voice. I inherited this attack, and it defines my childhood. Maybe you can manage to survive it. Good luck. Here it comes.
TIMBERLORD!
The aura around his body appears and quickly shifts over to his axe. It is a color very special to Magnus. Brown might not be the most noble color, but as a boy who was raised as a woodcutter, it represents him quite well. Even before the axe blade connects with its target, everything in its path perishes. A massive wave of destruction flies through the arena, and finally Sigurd is sent flying, crashing into the audience's ranks. Nothing but white is in his eyes, and blood keeps on flowing from his stomach. It is over, and the winner is obvious. Magnus, the son of a legendary barbarian and the man on a journey to become a legend himself, is the victor of this battle. And with that, the third battle of the first round had concluded. Odin stands up, holding his hands to encourage all of the fighters to show even more incredible feats in the future. The audience goes wild once more, and we end this episode of Shadow Piece on this high note. I hope you enjoyed it, because this Battle of Magnus was an incredible sight. Yes, we all know he's the child of Ragnar of One Piece D&D, and the TIMBERLORD reference has also been there, but Magnus is his own character. He may be part of One Piece D&D, but right now he has no connection with that story. He is in this part of the tournament and he has his own wish to fulfill, his own journey to take. So I want you guys to look forward to that. But that's all from me for today. All that's left to be said is stay happy, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay cultured. Pyro out. Bye!